Good evening. Hope everyone's all right.
Hello.
I'm joined tonight by my dad, who's already keen to chat. Gordon and my brother Andy. How are you both doing?
We're doing fine, thank you.
Yeah, not bad.
Just fine. Just
really
fine.
well.
Actually, ecstatic after last
night.
I must have watched the highlights about 7 times today.
Yeah. My God, what a so good last night. Dad, you were there. I couldn't make it, unfortunately. What was the atmosphere like? Because on the telly, I'll get into Sky later, but the bits they showed looked amazing, and I've seen some footage from NUFC TV today, which has been amazing, and so it came across really well on camera. But as ever, it never does it justice. So what was it?
It was just incredible. I mean, we've said that so many times before games this season, on the latter part of this season. But last night surpassed anything, and it was just, there is something magical about games under floodlights. There's something fantastic when the flags, the amount of flags that they produced last night was unbelievable. It was like everywhere in the ground, apart from the Arsenal supporters, obviously. Just amazing. And then, the intensity, the passion spilled down from the terraces into the players, and they were just on it from the beginning. It was just incredible. I was thinking about it today. I cannot remember a performance as complete as that for a long, long time. And with everybody in unity. Nowadays we very rarely get people moaning about individual players, because they're just performing it. Everybody is together with it, and it was just incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Great. It was. We'll get into the game a little bit more in a bit more detail soon. Got a few people in the comments already. Carl, good win yesterday. As a Newcastle fan, that's very least. Wow, what a way to sign off this historical season. So this is what it's supposed to feel like as a Newcastle fan. Can't wait for next year. I watched earlier it wasn't even a highlight reel, really. It was just the footage of the end of the game yesterday and the sort of lap of honour type thing. It was 10 minutes. It was just raw footage. And you could just... I tweeted in response, I just put, the club just feels alive again. It just feels... I also tweeted last night, like, Ashley and Bruce feel like it was forever ago now. Yes. I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, I said it last night, actually, that in the ground, I said, it's like Ashley and Bruce were just a bad nightmare that we've woken up from. It's hard to believe it's the same season, isn't it? It's like we've almost forgotten about it. Well, we have forgotten about it now because we've just moved on. But just incredible. Go on, Andrew, you can say something now.
That's all right, I just going back to the TV thing. Obviously the TV never does it justice, but it did look mad.
Yeah, it looked amazing on telly.
It looked really good. Even because obviously on Monday Night Football they're in the studio, so they're not there at the ground. But even when they were talking sort of half an hour before the game, they had the picture on behind, and you could sort of think, that looks like it's kicking off in there. And obviously, I was a little disappointed they didn't make them more of it. Because it was the narrative was definitely Arsenal qualifying for the Champions League.
Oh my God! we can get onto Sky later. I don't really want to spend too long moaning about Sky, but my goodness, the narrative was all about Arsenal, and it was ridiculous. But we will get onto that later. I don't want to start ranting.
No. But it absolutely incredible. I loved the Blue Star. Loved the United down the East Stand. I think it was just very, a lot of work. Just an incredible effort. And it looked mad. I was at West Ham at the weekend for Mark Noble's retirement gig, and they give you a big bit of card to hold up there. But flags is definitely the way to go.
Flags is great.
Yeah.
Great.
Big bit of paper or cards. Yeah, it was something else. So yeah,
it looks amazing. I guess that with the flags, like you get the beauty of like the movement of it. So it kind of looks like the stands are alive, doesn't it? It's just incredible. Evening, Joel. Evening, Mark. Evening, Morgul. A few regulars here, which is fab. Remember to hit like so that it spreads to more people. That would be really helpful because, as Andy Marrow says, where have you been the last few weeks? Just very, very busy, Andy. Just it's not that I've not wanted to do videos or talk about Newcastle. It's just my life is crazy. My job is crazy. And sometimes I just fall out of the habit of doing it. And it's not that I don't want to do it. And I've had a lot of people messaging me, but hopefully I can get into the habit of doing these again regularly. And there's so much to talk about with Newcastle right now. It's so exciting. And obviously we'll get into some of that this evening. And if there's anything you want to talk about this evening, just put it in the comments and we'll get to it and we'll chat. Because this show tonight is really just about just talking. I mean, I know it's not the end of the season. We've got one more game, but you know, it really kind of last night did feel like the end of the season. Mission accomplished. The big party in St. James's essentially. So let's discuss the season and you know the job that Eddie Howe and the players have done and the owners and everything, because there's so much to talk about and there's so much to look forward to. But you know, it was just amazing. So Blakey saying no, the TV doesn't do it justice. It was deafening. I've seen tweets from Arsenal fans saying couldn't even hear themselves talking. It was that loud. Just incredible.
Yeah. For a team that are 14th in the league at the start of the night.
I mean, the thing is, the top half finish is still on.
Yeah, it's tight. But yeah, potential.
If we can beat Burnley.
Burnley,
That's the word I'm looking for. Burnley.
They're not going to be looking forward to it, are they?
No, I think they'll be very worried that we're coming to town. I mean, because I think Eddie Howe will not let the team rest on their laurels. He wanted to finish with a win. You know, I have no doubt about that.
I totally agree, Dad. I was saying this to I've got a guy I work with who's a Leeds fan, and obviously he's quite worried. And I said before the Arsenal game, I said Eddie Howe will not accept the players rolling over like being on holiday. He just because he strongly believes he's a manager who believes in momentum, setting the right tone, and whether that's the first game of the season or the last game of the season, he won't allow his players to ease off. Basically, he'll want that top half finish because it'll be, you know, he'll want that for him as well as the fact it's good for the club to go out on a win. So then you're going into the next season and your last result was a win and all that kind of stuff. So we are joined by DJ Earth, our buddy.
Yes, you were right all along.
Absolutely, he was spot on. He's been watching these live streams since about January, I think, and maybe even slightly earlier. And he always maintained, even in our lowest moments, that even when we were wavering, because I always thought we'd be okay, but there was a point after the Watford game when I really thought, no, we're knackered.
Yeah.
But DJ Earth, he was spot on. He said we'd be fine, and we are fine, comfortably fine. It's amazing. So well done.
Yeah.
Do you think your team will come up at the weekend? That's the question. Let me know.
I think they will.
I think they will.
I think they'll do it this time.
Yeah,
they'll do it this time.
Yeah.
Mark asks, "What are your thoughts on the green kit? Has it been overblown?" Andrew, over to you. What do you reckon?
It's a white kit, isn't it?
It's mainly white with green trim.
Look, I've seen everything on Twitter about, you know, there are historic green and white kits, particularly that one with the kind of the
I love that kit. I had that kit.
Nice kit. Clearly, look, this is definitely something based on a Saudi Arabian model, I would say. It's not hugely surprising. Personally, don't buy it if you don't want it. I probably wouldn't buy it. I like a brighter kit myself. I'm very selective about the kits I buy. So I probably wouldn't buy a white one anyway, even if it was trimmed with blue. The one I really liked was the blue one with the gold, the third kit. Do you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
That was really nice.
No one cares about that one.
No. Has it been overblown? Everything's going to get overblown at the moment. And I was wondering I think I said to Dad, at some point they'll just get bored and the story will move on. I was listening to the Guardian podcast today about kind of the game and stuff, and they're very snotty about it, and we you know, telling every Newcastle fan how they should feel and they should be very uncomfortable and all this sort of stuff. And look, everyone's entitled to their opinion on things. I don't agree that by being a Newcastle fan you are coercive in this at all. So, you know, look, it's funny in some ways. but in other ways, look, it's just a kit, and it will be old news another time, and there'll be more away kits because they have to sell shirts and they have to change the design of the kit every season. So
yeah,
maybe
I agree. I think
PR, but
I think it's been massively overblown. Really,
yeah.
I think. I mean, first of all, the kit isn't even official.
No.
So, I mean, the chances are it probably is going to be the kit, but it's not official. So all these articles and what have you are premature, regardless of whether it turns out to be the kit or not.
Didn't Castore say that it had been leaked?
I think that they said. I mean, my thoughts on it is I don't like green on football strips, so I never really liked any of our past strips which were green.
Green is for goalkeepers.
Yeah, that's right. And green, and these teams that turn up at St James's Park in green when you cannot make them out for the grass, it just drives me mad.
Maybe you're a bit colourblind.
Yeah, you might need an eye test.
No. It was Brighton, I think, turned up in one. Was it last season or the season before? And it's just awful. I don't like green, so I'm not bothered. I will never buy it.
I don't like green.
I like green pictures. I like
it's not green, it's white. Green trim.
It's a green trim on a white
I know,
kit.
exactly. So
look, it's fine. The thing that will make the difference with any of these kits is the sponsor.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And are we still the same sponsor next year?
Well, we don't know. I think Fun 88 are probably... We've got one more year with Fun 88 before I think betting companies are then not allowed to be on your kit.
Yeah.
So the sort of the theory is that it might still be Fun 88. I guess it depends whether they can get a big sponsor in.
Yeah. That's not going to be a problem, is it?
Pay Fun 88 off or whatever, just pay them or I don't know. I don't know what they'll do. Are there any news on? I mean, Andy, I know as much as you. I don't ever claim to be an in the know person at all. I get annoyed by people who claim they know things that they don't. So I don't know. Like, I imagine there will be.
There was the news this week that they'd appointed the head of Saudi Golf to the board, and obviously that does start to tie in links with other things. And we can expect to see, in the same way that Qatar Airways are all over Man City and all that other stuff. I think we're definitely going to see Saudi-based companies sponsoring us. But there you go.
Yeah. And I think I can't really understand why they've not announced sponsorship deals yet. Like, I thought that would have come earlier in the season. I thought they would have got... But I know there was the whole thing about ownership and that sort of thing. But even still, I thought there might have been some announcements about sponsorships earlier. But whether it's just a case of waiting until the season ends and then being able to, like, contracts ending and then moving on, I don't know. But you'd imagine they'd be really looking to exploit all kinds of things, like having, like, I don't know, like parts of the ground sponsored.
But you know what, though, Ian? I'm quite relaxed about it. I think they'll do it in the time that they think is right, and I'm not even worried about it really. I tell you what, though, I looked at the ground last night, and it's as we say, it was buzzing. But the one thing that's been fantastic the last few months is the lack of those horrible Sports Direct signs. It just looks like a football stadium that you want to be in. It looks so much better. But anyway, talking about the season, which is what your question was originally, wasn't it? How do we feel it's gone?
Was it? I think
I'm just going to quickly put this question. This is John. John is also he's a really good YouTuber, and I'm really thanks for coming along, John. Really cool. He's a Spurs fan, but I work randomly with 3 Spurs fans, and they were all absolutely buzzing today. They came up and thanked me personally as if I had anything to do with it. Anyway, enough of that. Go check John's channel out. He's really good. He's amazing at editing videos. So go and watch him.
Are you a football YouTuber?
Pardon?
Football YouTuber?
No. He has a van, like a mini van thing that he drives around and camps in and stuff. But he just does videos about his life. They're good. Right. Okay. He needs to start posting more videos again though, because he's a bit like me. He's not done many recently.
A busy man.
He's busy, yeah. But anyway, nice that you're here, John. Anyway, let's go back to Newcastle. So Dad, the season as a whole. Let's discuss that.
Well, it's clearly a season of extremes, isn't it? I mean, we started off with Steve Bruce and the negativity. People didn't want him there. He was just playing the fans off against each other, and he was just awful. and the football was awful. We started games fast and then scored early in quite a few home games early on, and then lost quite convincingly. West Ham and Tottenham seemed to ring a bell. And really, I remember, when we went away up to Scotland in the first week in October. It was a Saturday we played Wolves away. And I remember as we were driving along, obviously they kept reporting on 5 Live the scores, and we clearly we were losing. And we got to the place where I was in and turned on the telly, and it was just I just thought, where is this going to end? We're going to be relegated because the performance was dire.
It was so bad.
Yeah, it was so bad. There was no doubt. If the takeover hadn't happened, we would have been relegated this season.
Of course we would.
Yeah.
Absolutely, no doubt about that whatsoever.
Because you look at the carnage. I mean, when we've had relegation seasons before, because we have obviously, I mean, we've gone down more often than we want to in the last 10, 15 years. Twice under Ashley.
Yeah.
But the thing with it is that both of those seasons were, they were carnage. I mean, there were 3 managers. Yeah. It was all that kind of. I mean, the Joe Kinnear stuff the first time. You look at Watford, and it's the same sort of thing. You've got a slightly mad owner in that instance, but like he's sacking managers, he's bringing the wrong managers in, all that sort of stuff, and it doesn't take much for that to snowball. And I think we'd be nearer Norwich if it weren't.
Yeah. I mean, I think quite the match before we had the takeover was Wolves, wasn't it? Wolves away, and I think literally that was the lowest point. And even before we knew the takeover had happened, there were so many fans who had gone.
Yeah.
They were like, "This is the lowest moment in the."
Well, I remember, as I said, being that we were away that weekend, and that Saturday was grim, and it was just down. And then midweek, there were just on the Wednesday we were out and about over in the west of Scotland on Galloway, and there was just rumours coming through on Twitter because I was looking at it midday, and it just. And then I got back into about 4 o'clock, and I texted you to both, and I said, "Have you heard anything? Because this sounds as if something's happening." And from then on that evening, it just snowballed, of course, and people came out on the streets. And then the next day, it just was announced that the takeover. And from that moment on, it was just a different world. Then after that, of course, they didn't get rid of Steve Bruce straight away, did they? And we had was it the Tottenham game that it was at this. The first game under the new
rules. That was his 1000s game, wasn't it?
And again, we scored. That's right. We scored early, didn't we, in that game? And of course, we collapsed.
We came out like a house. It was amazing.
And it was part of the problem because we were unfit. We never lasted the course. I remember listening to Callum Wilson talking to the West Ham lad. What's his name? And what's his forward? West Ham.
Antonio
on their podcast, and he was talking about how when Newcastle played West Ham at the beginning of the season, he said Newcastle players were blown because they were so unfit compared to West Ham.
But if you look at last night, I mean, the guy had been out 4 months, you'd never know it.
So
I can't believe how. I mean, like Wilson's performance last night was exceptional, and he played most of the match. And
he looked like a machine.
Yeah, he was absolutely on fire.
He only came off in the last 2 minutes for when Gale came on.
Yeah. Just in case anyone was wondering about his teeth, he had it fixed. He had it fixed today.
So there's a thing, right? If it happens to your tooth, the thing you should do is shove it back in as quick as you can because the gum will heal around it.
Is that right?
Yeah. And that's what they did. It was on. There was just a shot of it on the telly where the physio kind of just jabbed it back up, and I thought, "Oh, that's gonna hurt." That guy's hard, and look, it's back in, and he's probably been to a dentist.
He's definitely been to a dentist today,
But I'm thinking at one point, I'm tthinking, well, that's dental surgery, isn't it? But no, apparently, if you shove the tooth back in, the gum will heal around it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. There's a life tip for you.
It's a life tip, life hack. In case anyone smashes your front
tooth out, shove it back in.
Yeah,
you'll be fine.
So anyway, we obviously the Bruce situation hung over us for a couple of weeks after the takeover, didn't it? And then eventually they got rid of him and then put Graham Jones in charge for a couple of games while they were trying to sort. And I remember reading at the time people were getting wound up by it because why have they not made this appointment yet? Why have they, you know?
Well, do you remember at the time there was a lot of thing about, we should just make. We were all quite worried that Jones would be made the kind of temporary coach, which is very much an Ashley move. He clearly brought.
Right, so.
Yeah. Southampton beat Liverpool, amazing.
I've not checked it, but
it's all right. So, but do you remember at the time there was lots of talk about with Jones just coming because he was kind of brought in. Really, I mean, Bruce said he agreed with it, but I don't think he had much choice. They brought him in.
No,
and it would have been if Ashley had stayed, they would have sacked Bruce at some point, and they would have just let Jones be the manager. But those 3 games, I mean, I don't think he made it any worse, but it wasn't any better at all.
It wasn't very inspirational, was it? It was.
Then what we realised was that a lot of the tactics we were probably playing at the time were probably Jones's kind of defence-minded tactics.
Yeah, he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't helping. And then, then appointing Eddie Howe just is a masterstroke.
Which was after, of course, the Unai Emery situation, wasn't it? When we were convinced it was Unai Emery, and of course he then decided to stay put. But then Eddie Howe was, and of course we got a lot of flack, didn't we? Oh, you've got all this money, and you've signed Eddie Howe. Ha 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 ha! How funny!
Do you think that when we look back on this in a few years' time, we'll appreciate the Unai Emery? I'm not saying like he's a great coach, obviously, good season. Do you think we'll appreciate though that it's a bit of it was a sliding doors moment, and actually could have worked out in our favour?
Yeah. In this moment, you think, interesting. It could have been good. I mean, I have to say, I think any coach coming in after Bruce would have improved it.
Yes,
I genuinely think that. You know, I mean, they could have brought Chris Hughton back, and it would have made it better because Bruce. I think you talk about the start of the season. I don't think Bruce really wanted to be there by the end.
He was waiting for the payoff.
He was waiting for his payoff. He was hanging on. He didn't like the flack he was getting. He was banning journalists. He was having a go at the fans. There wasn't the effort being put in, and he certainly wasn't. You know, he's buggering off on holiday, wasn't he? You know, and all that kind of stuff. That weren't the actions of a happy man. So I think anyone coming in, it's hard to say, isn't it? But I think
I agree that most respected managers who would have come in would have improved it. Mm-hmm. What I mean is, like, have we hit the jackpot with Eddie Howe? Is what I'm saying in terms of like.
I think in this moment, we're hoping we have because clearly the progress that's been made has been rapid. Although it's actually more rapid than we think because actually it didn't start in October. It took him 2 or 3 months really to get the squad into a decent shape. Yeah, you know, in the Cambridge game.
A lot of that was fitness. Yeah, I think a lot of it was fitness, and I think that there was an improvement immediately under Howe. There was that Brentford game. Yeah, it wasn't there, but like the improvement was, like it was quick.
To go back to your question though, Ian,
results weren't, but the performances were.
We could see they were trying the Man United game, all that kind of. It was a lot better. I think tentatively, I would say. Yeah, I think we're in a good moment. And I think clearly he's got a lot of goodwill. He's done a fantastic job. And so, I mean, we were chatting earlier on. There's every reason to think we should be in the top 10 next season, if not higher. However, there will be dips next season. There always are.
Yeah.
You know, if we carry on the form that Howe has put us in since sort of February, we'd be in the Champions League if it was an all-season thing. But that's not how football works.
Do you think, just on that question, because I've been thinking about this a little bit, because of the recent form, everyone's thinking, right, next season, top 8's easy. Like, surely we'll just carry on, we'll be fine. But there is that things will go wrong next season that we're not expecting. It will be bumpy at times.
Well, there's the World Cup to negotiate, which is an unusual for everyone. We don't know how that all goes. You're right, and I think that there's definitely going to be a point in next season where we'll lose a few games, maybe 5, 4 or 5, whatever, and people will be like, oh, they'll get, what people are like, they get twitchy.
Oh yeah,
it's mad. You lose to Spurs, and I think the thing to remember is the only top 6 team we've beaten is Arsenal, and they were beleaguered, they were knackered, and they were still reeling from that Spurs defeat. And it was a young squad who had been absolutely slaughtered by their nearest rivals. And so, so it was a great time to play them.
So they had everything to play for still.
No, I'm not saying that. We played fantastic and we absolutely bossed it. But that's the only team. I'm saying that's the only top 6 team we've beaten this season. And so, it's tempering expectations.
Yeah. But what I'm saying, I just want. I think next season top 10. I'd be shocked if we're not in the top 10.
Yeah. Well, the question is this, right? West Ham are what, 56 points, and we're 46 points. So we're 10 points behind West Ham, and we lost 14 games in a row.
Yeah,
so we didn't win for 14 games.
My friend said to me the other day, we've only won 4 less games than Man United.
Yeah.
And West Ham, and they were in the shout of the Champions League a couple of weeks ago.
And so the thing like with West Ham, as you know, I do follow them, and their home form is what has propelled them this season. They've lost very few games at home.
Yeah. It's interesting that because our home form is crazy good. Like we've only lost to Man City, haven't we?
Yeah.
In the last.
That's the point.
I think we won 7 out of 8 or something.
Yeah. Liverpool. We lost.
Liverpool.
But I think what he's done, Eddie Howe. I think you talk about sliding door moments, and I think probably one of the and people have talked about this, haven't we? And that's the Norwich game, the Tuesday night game when 9 minutes in, Kieran Clark gets sent off, and we're sat in the stand, we're saying, "Oh my goodness, what?" And it was just
I was sat there thinking, why have I travelled up on a Wednesday, Tuesday evening, whatever it was? I was literally sat thinking, I've got to drive back 2 hours.
But you know what happened that night?
Like, what am I doing?
The team actually dug in. They actually, he switched the formation. He put Joe Linton in midfield, which we know has been transformational for him and the side. But it wasn't just about that. It was just about the effort and the commitment from the 10 players who played. We took the lead, and actually we probably should have won that game. It was just a Pookie, goal at the end, which was a good goal. But it was just so gutting. And that was the story of those early games with Howe, wasn't it? We were just not winning the game.
Wasn't quite getting
under Bruce, we would have collapsed and we would have lost that game 3-0. That's the difference.
And then the Man United game after Christmas. We deserved to win that game, and we should have won it.
That is the one result, and that and Chelsea away are the 2 results really that I wish we could have back. Yeah. Because we deserve more from both of those games. That Man United home game just.
Well, when Maxi missed that chance right in front of the goal, how the hell he missed it?
We lost Wilson that game as well.
And we lost Wilson that game. Yeah.
It kind of just, you were talking there just about obviously the Norwich game and that being the moment that Joe Linton was switched into the central midfield area. Which leads into this question from John, which is, who do you think has had the biggest turnaround under Eddie Howe? There's loads of candidates. That is the thing. I think you can't really struggle to look past Joe Linton in a sense because he's just been named our player of the season, which says everything.
He's so loved as well. That's the thing. I think even through it all, we were berating him definitely on this channel at one point. Most likely, but he's worked so hard. He's so low.
To be fair to Ian, I don't think you were berating him. You thought there was a player in there, and
don't get me wrong. There was definitely moments where it was like, let's just cut our losses and get rid. I've definitely said that, but I also said before, I definitely said earlier in the season, before most people, I would say. He's got something that he can be useful for us this season, and he can do a job for us this season. And his performances get better and better. And there's not many. I don't always get everything right. So when I do, I'm going to grab onto it and make sure people know that I did get that right.
Should we list them? Joe Linton's one.
Joe Linton, definitely. Yeah. Shelvey.
Yeah,
Shelvey. Yeah, we could. Asthmatic pit pony comes to mind on this channel.
I don't know who said that on this channel, but someone put that as a comment that he would look like an asthmatic pit pony.
We were convinced he was out the door once Eddie Howe had taken. Yeah, but actually Eddie Howe likes him. And
actually, I think up until a point he played like the most
minutes
he was than any other player. He played like almost every minute of every game under Howe.
Yeah, and there was that kind of sweet moment where it was the Joe middle of the park sort of thing, and that was That was quite nice.
John Jojo.
It was nice to see Willock wake up and become the player we saw the previous season a little bit more.
Yeah. We saw glimpses of Willock. I'd like to. I'm interested to see what he does next season.
I've got to say, Emil Kraft.
Look at Kraft. I was going to say Kraft next. Yeah.
What the performance last night?
Whoever. Just there was one moment last night. Like he had a great game, but there was just one moment that sticks in my head where it wasn't even anything significant, but he was near the halfway line and he just did like this little piece of skill to get past the player. And I was like, it's quality. Like just little things like that. It's just
and it just goes to show sometimes people write players off far too early, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I think Kraft was suffered because of
it's lack of kind of confidence, no tactics, probably poor training. But the guys are Sweden international, and Sweden are no mugs internationally.
Yeah. Right.
He's played in the Euros and the World Cup, so he's definitely obviously half decent. But yeah, and again, I'm not going to say it. I mean, he's definitely not going to be in the team if Trippier's fit.
As we always say, you need more than one player in a squad, don't you, for each position? So I think it's about the growth of the squad.
Yeah,
I think Trippier coming on to that actually. He was another big moment, and I think when this era's looked back at, the signing of Kieran Trippier was inspired. And I know he hasn't played many games, but in those 4 games that he played, he was so influential. You could just see it.
Was that only 4 games?
Yeah, before he got injured, and he scored, of course, 2 free kicks in that time. He scored the Everton free kick and the Villa free kick, which won us. Well, I know that the icing on the cake was the Everton one, but the free kick against Villa was obviously 3 points.
Yeah.
But more than that, and when you read about what he's doing, he's always there in the dressing room. He's been with the side. Apparently, he was coaching them last night.
Yeah, I saw that. Coaching while he was warming up. He's a leader, and it's the kind of player you want in your dressing room.
He'll be captain next season.
I think I've said that ever since he arrived. I think he's odds on to be the captain.
I think Lascelles will be moved on. Because the other thing is, as Marcus sort of said in the comments, Shah's kicked on. Fabian Schär's looked. I was having to get this. He's regained some of that classiness that
but it comes from this. Yeah, I mean, the problem going back to earlier in the season, the problem we had, and I've said this so many times, was that our defense was not as bad as it looked because it just wasn't being protected by the midfield. Now, what Eddie Howe did, he built the revival on the defence. Believe it or not, like we're more attacking, but he made us more solid. We were on track to concede 90 odd goals at one point in the season. It was so bad. We were conceding like 3 goals a game, and he sort of completely stopped that. And we still don't score loads and loads of goals.
Yeah,
we built this revival, and lots of those wins were narrow wins, 1-0 and that sort of thing. It was about getting the midfield to actually be more cohesive with the defence, and as a result of that, your defenders look better.
Yeah, they do. But Schär, there was a pass that Schär made last night, and it was a 40-yard cross-field pass. I think was it to Maxi?
Yeah.
On the wing, or so it was out to that wing, and it was just like, oh my, what it was like Philip Albert kind of sort of stuff, just deft touch, flick it, really brilliant, and he's just got that classy sort of nature. And obviously Howe is, Dan Burn obviously not improved because we signed him, but he looks like he's been there forever.
Yeah,
doesn't he? He was so comfortable in the team, and I think with it being his hometown club and all, but he looks brilliant. And that centre half partnership, Bruce just didn't know what his best team was. Going back to that, they were chopping it out.
He was fearless, wasn't he?
Kieran Clark, he was in, and Clark's not really had a say really since Christmas, has he? He's been dropped in the squad.
Yeah,
that's Peter there with Fraser.
Yeah, Fraser. Yeah. There is a player, obviously, Fraser, and he's played his part, hasn't he? He really has.
He scored the second goal against Everton, didn't he? And that move in that game, and he was like a terrier all night against their defence. He was like a pain in the neck to them because he just kept harassing them. He was just all over that front line, and then he broke, and he was creating stuff, and then of course he got himself in the box for the goal. It was just a tremendous problem, but he's been such an improved player. There's a pity he got injured, but we've carried on. Yeah.
Yeah. Just on a slight tangent on that question, Peter asks, what will your lasting memory of this season, apart from the takeover, be? Obviously, we talked about Joe Linton, which has been amazing. For me, I was thinking about this earlier, because I remember saying, I can't remember at what point I said this, but a few weeks ago or a couple of months ago, I was saying, let's just get this season finished. Let's just do it.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, what I've realised is I've actually enjoyed the second half of the season so much. I actually kind of don't want this season to end because I know like the squad is flawed, the team is still flawed, but there's a beauty in it.
That's what makes it really beautiful, isn't it? Yeah, exactly.
And like the togetherness and like the togetherness of like, I mean, it came to a head last night with the stadium and the fans and the players and the squad and the owners and everyone being there.
Yeah.
And like that is so special.
Yeah.
And actually, like, there's so many special moments in the season. Just watching the players win away at Southampton, beating Everton, like just all those wins we had. Each one of them so special in its own way, and like fully enjoyable, like properly. So it's not like one moment for me. It's just like it's just that series of events where we were like, I can't believe we've won 3 in a row again. We've won 3 like we've done that 3 times. It's just. It's unbelievable.
Remember, I think we had a conversation about we never scored great goals, but suddenly we've scored a lot of great goals in the last few months, haven't we? I mean,
Miggy was goal of the month.
Bruno back heel against Southampton.
I
still don't know how the hell he did that. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Miggy's goal, as you say, and then of course, last night it was just that is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's mad, isn't it?
And that was a crucial goal, because it put our head 2-1, and it was an important win because we were still needing points in a big way, and the win at Southampton, which we hadn't done for a while, was actually really, really.
It's the power he got on it.
Power he got on it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just absolutely magnificent.
He reads the game in a different way. You can sort of,
if you ever follow like any of those stat accounts. After a match when Bruno's played, he's always the best midfielder on the pitch.
Did you see that Arsenal the other day talking about how he's poor because he's just a load of rubbish. Have a look at me timeline. He's just absolutely ridiculous.
Should we just give that some context? Hang on. So
I've got no idea what you're on about.
Yeah. So there was an Arsenal fan complaining about the game last night, clearly, and he was basically saying how Gimenez is crap and overrated. And
somebody said they should have signed him when they had the chance.
Yeah. And then he just wrote a lot of stuff like, he's a terrible passer, he's overrated, he doesn't score enough. And then someone just put his stats up. Just like
watch him play.
Read what he does. So it was quite a funny response. Really, sort of like,
I think what's amazing with Bruno is he is the complete player. So if you look at his defensive stats, they're amazing. Yeah. If you look at his attacking stats, they're amazing. Yeah. And if you look at his heat map in a game, oh my God, the guy's everywhere. He's everywhere on the pitch. It's just he must cover so much ground in a match.
I mean, somebody wrote on again. I think it was a journalist somewhere said, "What is Bruno? Is he the best? Deep lying midfielder? Is he the best box to box? And all these things. He's everything."
Yeah.
And the way, did you see that cross for Wilson's volley?
Yeah.
I mean, he had 3 men around him, and he got the cross right to Wilson. And I mean, if that had gone in,
we're talking about spectacular goals. I mean, Wilson could have had 2 goals of the seasons last night.
If Wilson's that goal, that chance, if that had been a goal, that was unreal.
Yeah.
It was so close.
In the ground, we honestly thought that had gone in.
It was so close to going in. There's a camera angle from the east stand, and it looks like it's going in. Yeah. It's just it must have been so close.
He could have gone for any part of the goal because the keeper was never getting to it, and it's just a shame he put that little side spin on it, didn't he? And
it was the spin that it was slicing it across it that with the thing. Yeah. It was fantastic. But going back to great moments, one of the greatest moments of the season was undoubtedly when Bruno scored that header against Leicester.
Yeah,
I mean, ever a goal summed up a season. I think that was the one.
It kind of crushed Leicester for about a month, that as well, didn't it?
Because for a start, when the ball was played along towards target, he was in the fullback position and the Leicester player was around him.
That's right.
And we were all shouting at him, just play it out. You know, let it go for the cut, get the free, and we take the 1-1. But then he has to play it, so he does it, turns, and then he plays Willock down the line, and then Willock does that little flick, and he's gone past the man before he. And of course,
it was a beautiful touch, right on the touch line. Yeah,
and I know we get the deflection that takes it up into Bruno's path, but Bruno made that run from.
I think he's so classy. If that doesn't take a deflection, I think he'd have overhead kicked it in or something. He would have done it.
But he doesn't have to break stride to get the header. And
his run from our half to the goal, he didn't break stride.
And it was the last minute of the game.
Felt amazing.
It was the last minute of the game, and honestly, the feeling in the ground after that goal went in was just.
He does wear a magic hat.
Absolutely.
I think. Yeah, I mean, there's been those moments and goals. I really like Miggy's goal as well. That was a great moment because he hadn't scored for so long as well, and just to see his reaction.
Who had just wound up? Was it? What's he called? The winger, Palace. Hadn't he just been winding him up?
It's with Zaha.
Zaha. That's it.
Yeah, they just.
I was going to say Zaha, but I knew it wasn't.
Well, they were just getting a bit of a housery moment, weren't they?
And then he literally just I think that. He said something like, "Who the F are you?" Or, and then he just went and scored.
It was goal of the month as well.
Angry Miggy.
That was quite a nice moment. But I think my moment, has been the flags coming back properly. Although it's obviously part of the takeover anyway. But actually, the kind of the Big River one at the Spurs game.
There's been some amazing ones. That Big River one was bloody brilliant.
Yeah, so I think because for me it's the reawakening of the connection with the fans and the ground and the synergy in that place now. I mean, did you see the video of Medusi getting into the crowd last night in the lap of honour? Yeah, which I thought was quite nice.
Just talking about. There's been a couple of things. There's been a couple of people, or not a couple, but like there's people who don't support Newcastle who are they're critical of everything that happens at Newcastle now, obviously, and we know that that's going to be the case. But they're just saying that these owners, they're just like wanting the attention, they love it, like all this stuff. Well, I mean, what do you think? What do you think of that? Do you think that they're just is it all PR or do you think it's more genuine?
I think there is genuine.
I don't. You can't fake.
You can't fake
what Amanda Staveley is doing. And if she's faking that, it's the most amazing PR campaign by anyone ever. I think it's so genuine because you don't. I mean, the Reuben brothers are around, but they're not necessarily always making comments or in the press, are they? They're there, but it's obviously she's the mouthpiece. But I think it is so genuine, and I think she, I mean, you can see it in the crowd last night. In the lap of honour, they're just so. Because it was a risk, it was a big risk, but she never did. She always believed that she could do it, and it was even worth it, even when we were in the dire pit we were in. Yeah.
What I love, we've said for so many years, even under the Robson era, when it certainly under the Ashley era, we said if someone just needs to see the potential and actually take the risk on it, and that is what Amanda Staveley has done. She saw the potential, and it's literally coming to life now. Last night just epitomised everything that she knew it could be.
Yes, I agree.
And the reason it gets a lot of kind of like comparison with the Keegan era is because that's exactly what he did. He understood the fans. He had a relationship with them, and he knew that if you walk it up, it was something that it was gonna go places, and I mean, I hope the story's different this time. I hope we actually end up winning and not just coming very, very close. There'll be some close calls on the way, and it's about pushing through. That's what we never did beyond Keegan. We didn't push through into that place of success. So that's the difference this time. But the reason it's similar is because Sir John Hall at that point with Keegan was just as well known. The guy's got a stand.
Yeah, he had a profile.
And love him or hate him these days for whatever. But he did invest. He had a dream of something bigger than what was there. Maybe a little too ambitious in the wrong areas at certain points. But
I think it went sour towards the end.
Of course, it did. Yeah.
But what he did do was rebuild what ground.
But it was the moment.
He gave us the basis of that ground that we've got today because he built those. He had those two stands. The Gallagher and the Leeds then were rebuilt. Built into something proper.
I was listening to the interview with David Kelly on True Faith which was brilliant. Just go and listen to that, and it was actually recorded after the Leicester game.
Yes, I've listened to part of
that.
that.
He was a special guest there, wasn't he? So.
He was, and so they interviewed him. It's a really good interview, and I've forgotten how he's got such a nice voice. he's so kind of nicely spoken. He's got that Midlands accent, kind of soft, but he's he was talking about that Leicester game at the end, but we were talking about the game, because he's got a hat-trick on his last day working for the club,
right.
Against
Leicester, obviously, yeah.
Against Leicester. But the framework of the Gallagher was up, if you remember,
right.
at that point, and it was sort
the
of...
Leazer's end.
Oh, the Leazer's end, sorry, yes, because that went up first, didn't it? And then then the Gallagher followed the following season.
That's right.
But the framework was up. I remember it being there because we were in the paddock, weren't we?
Lindisfarne were on it.
Lindisfarne were on it. That is correct. Yes, that's right. That was what amazing time.
You're right. It feels like that now. So obviously we were lucky enough to live through that. And obviously we rode that wave, and then it went a bit sour. Then we got Bobby, and we rode it again, and then it went completely sour for 15 years. And like I've said this before, we've got a generation of fans who've never experienced their highlight was Alan Pardew's season when we finished 5th. That's their highlight as a Newcastle supporter.
Yeah,
and there's a whole generation of fans who that's as good as it's ever been. Strap yourselves in, because this club is taking off, and it is going places, because it's not just about the money. It's about the fact that Staveley and the other people who are actually running the club day to day know what they're doing. They've proven that in the first 6, 7 months, 8 months, however long they've been there now, that they know what they're doing. They've got Eddie Howe, who, for me, I don't want to speak too soon on Howe, because it is still early days, but I just think he can be there for. I really genuinely believe that he could be there for a long time, because I genuinely believe that his methods and his coaching is that good. And you know a good manager when you see one, and I think he is it.
Well, I think last night was a case in point, wasn't it? Because we've had it before where a game has been sort of built up. We've had the great emotion coming from the stands before a match, and then it goes as flat as anything, But last night, he had, and let's not take it away, he organised that team to do a job, and they went ahead. And it was just the entire team. I mean, they knew what they had to do. They were organised, and even when Arsenal did have a little bit of a sniff of a chance, they were there. They were defending properly, and you could see. And actually, from my perspective, you could see it. You could see the players pointing at each other to get into position for when Arsenal did have those breaks, and they were just tremendous. They were breaking it, and the two. I mean, Longstaff went unnoticed last night.
Played really well.
He had a really good game.
Yeah. That little flick through to Wilson for the second goal. Oh, that was quality.
That was right in front, and it was a tremendous. It was just
lovely.
a look. Well, the turn was brilliant because the ball came out. He had his back to the goal. The defender was there, but he turned the defender, played the ball, and of course, then we end up scoring. But he had a very, he went unnoticed last night a little bit, I think.
Because he was in a sort of the more not we have a holding midfielder, but he was in the back three of the midfield rather than the front three, wasn't he? Yeah. So he was just plugging away.
But he was there, and I just think we bossed the game. And we've had this conversation in the past, haven't we? When did we really boss a game? Well, we've had a few games lately where we bossed games, and it's been great to see.
I think last night. I mean, we've done. You were right. We have bossed some games recently, but I genuinely cannot remember the last time we controlled a match from first minute to last minute like we did last night. We completely outplayed them.
This picks up on some of the stuff Sky was sort of saying last night, because it was in the build up to go into that. It was shocking because it was like Arsenal are going to have more possession. They're going to dominate. Newcastle they'll have to work hard. They can hit them on the brick, and it just didn't transpire like that at all. No, they weren't even talking about the fact that we might turn up and absolutely dominate the game.
Yeah,
and the punditry was, it was all about the it's the Champions League stuff, isn't it? That was what they were.
That was their line for the night, wasn't it? It was so disappointing at full time for them to literally. This is what they did. They went back to the studio at full time. They didn't mention Newcastle for about 5 minutes.
I know.
They put the top half of the table on.
Yeah.
They talked about Arsenal, and then,
yeah,
like literally, honestly, it must have been like 3 or 4 minutes. They just talked about Arsenal. They showed the top half of the table, and then after that, then they talked about Newcastle and showed the bottom half of the table. It's like we won the game convincingly, and all they could talk about was how disappointing it was for Arsenal, how bad it was for Arsenal, how what are Arsenal doing?
There's an element with Monday Night Football about getting the clicks and the views later on
over analysis.
Yeah, and so they get emotional and angry about teams, and it's like, oh, stupid Arsenal, it's what they always do, and like neither of them are Arsenal players, you know. And I understand it when Gary Neville loses his mind over Man United sometimes, because that's fair enough, because they've been abysmal. But like you just sort of say, like actually they had it in their hands and all this sort of stuff. Like, well, they've got to play 38 games like everyone else, and they lost this one, and they lost to Spurs, so that's what you get. And there was no sort of question of, well, Arsenal probably should finish 5th or 6th, because that's probably where they're at.
I mean, to be fair, it did look a few weeks ago like they were nailed on for the 4th place, so they have thrown it away in that sense. But anyway,
the Arsenal team though, after the game, the captain and the manager came out quite strongly and said they just weren't.
Yeah,
they were. We look like the Champions League team, and they were a Championship team. That's what he said. And
we got more respect and more credit from the Arsenal players and manager than we did from the Sky Sports studio. It was really frustrating.
I wonder what Arteta was going to come out and say, because after the Spurs game, he went all weird, didn't he? And he was a bit kind of like, I cannot talk about the referee and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Even though they were just, they just got mauled. Whereas he actually did, he just said, well, Newcastle were the better team.
Yeah.
So,
I just seen Peter's comment there about the defence there, and I think that's a valid comment. Burn and Target. I tell you, the other thing that what Burn and Target have done is given us Martin Dubravka back with a bit of confidence. Because
again, it comes back to having confidence in the back four, and the back four having confidence in the midfield in front of them.
He gets a lot. Every time he makes a mistake, he makes one mistake in a game like he did at Tottenham. And it's he's terrible keeper. But get somebody else in.
Well,
all keepers make mistakes. Oh my God! It's just a ridiculous.
It drives me mental, because it's like not every keeper is like Alisson or Ederson. Do you know what I mean? Like, those two are insanely good keepers. And like the Arsenal keeper, what's his face last night? Aaron Ramsdale. He's brilliant.
Oh my God! He made a save in the first half. From who had the shot? Was it Sam Maximin? He hit it so hard and so low.
Yeah.
How he got down and saved it was a brilliant save.
He's a really good keeper, and I like his mentality. He was interviewed on the Peter Crouch podcast, and I just really liked what he was saying about the way he approaches the game. And he had a bad game last night in some ways. You know what I mean? He nearly got lobbed from 40 yards and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it happens. Yeah. Dubravka, do you remember was it the World Cup where he basically threw the ball in his own net?
Yeah,
things like that.
He had a nightmare, didn't he?
It's a total nightmare.
Well, he did. He'd been playing well in that World Cup until then. The Euros.
It was the Euros
last year. Yeah.
You sort of think, oh, good grief.
The thing with Target, that's interesting, because I've been reading today. People asking, are we going to sign him? And I know he wants to stay. What do we think about that?
He wouldn't want to stay.
Exactly.
Well, it's that or go back to Villa.
Yeah.
Where you're not wanted, and they've signed someone else.
Yeah. And playing in front of the crowd, like, I don't know. It must be hard for some players who have all that, like Newcastle at its best, and then have to go and play somewhere else.
The thing for Target is he clearly does want to stay. I think he's obviously very popular in the team. He's been really good, and the question when you're always signing a player is he better than what we currently have? Yeah. And if he is, then you should probably sign him. Now, whether another fullback comes along,
the issue. Yeah.
You go, actually, this guy's even better. He's like Kieran, let's say he's Kieran Trippier, a left back of Kieran Trippier level. Yeah. Another, you think, well.
And that's the thing that we don't know this summer. We don't know how much we're going to spend, how many players they're really genuinely targeting, how many players Eddie Howe thinks he can keep in the squad, and then
how many they can move on.
Yeah.
Because surely if you sign someone like a fullback, or you've got to get rid of another one, because the squad's in balance. Is Mankio going to go? because the Kraft signed another contract, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think Mankeer probably will go.
Yeah.
You know, and Mankeer, we were kind of begging for him to come back at one point, weren't we?
I mean, the question you said was, is he better than the players we had target? And clearly he must be, because he's played all the games since he signed.
Yeah.
So it would seem to indicate that he's better than what we had. And his performances have been absolutely what we needed. And Dan Burn, I mean, I just can't believe how he's just stepped into that role. I mean,
he's been composed in most of the game. I mean, Chelsea and Spurs. He got caught in Chelsea and Spurs, didn't he?
He has made a few mistakes, to be fair, but overall we can't complain about him. He's been better than what we've had there before. So and he'll do a good job next season as well.
The thing is, though, you know, some of these players are going to come up against better players.
Yeah, I kept this one. I thought it was quite a funny question. I don't know. So, Dad, if we make it to the FA Cup final, but you can only take one of us, who goes?
I'll let you both go. I'll just watch it on telly like I've always done.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Of course you would. You take me because you get overnight accommodation. Me,
yeah.
It would just be nice for them to come to a home game so that we can all sit together again. Actually,
on a serious note about the cups next season, that's one of the things I'm genuinely looking forward to now, because there's no doubt in my mind they're going to target the cups. They're going to target them, to win. We're going to be in them to win them genuinely, and just imagine, like, we're going to have a team that's capable, potentially, of at least going deep in it.
Yeah. You wouldn't think we won't have another Cambridge next season, wouldn't you?
We won't.
You hope not.
We won't. No, we won't.
Yeah.
We just.
I mean, that's the thing with club football. That happens, doesn't it? You know, but
not when we're going to be as mint as we're going to be next season.
To be honest, this season, the Cambridge game, I mean, I wasn't as upset as a lot of people were, because I could see, you know,
didn't need the games, did we?
We didn't need the games, and actually the league was what we said all along. We need to stay in this league, and yes, a cup run would have been
and as we've been told from the beginning, it's Liverpool's season, so it's their turn.
I'm fed up with them. Fed up with them, but
already. Could be at least five more years of them winning stuff, I tell you.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Anyway,
that sounded sinister.
Mark asked a good question about Elliot Anderson here that I wanted to come to. So obviously Elliot Anderson absolutely tearing up League Two with Bristol Rovers, just like putting in, basically he's got them promoted, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's only like, what is he, 18, 19 or something?
Yeah.
So there's a really good question about what happens with him, because he's been outstanding in League Two. Bristol Rovers would obviously like him to come back and play in League One, but I think he's proven League One would be. He needs to go. He needs to play at a higher level than that. So the question is, do you have him around the squad next season, or do you send him out to a championship team?
Do you know what it is? I've heard various pundits talk about, on BBC Newcastle particularly, and they're talking about, he needs to go out on loan again and all. I'm thinking, you know, in the old days, and I know it's not the old days, but players, but other clubs play young players.
Yeah.
And if they're good enough,
they
can make a name for themselves at their parent club. They don't all have to go out on loan, surely.
No, but also that there is an argument for doing that as well. Like, look at people like Harry Kane, for example.
Yeah.
Like, that it's a genuine route for some players to do that. So even now in the modern game,
I agree.
It's not all about. Sometimes the opportunity is just not there at a club if you're young. Like, unless you are like instantly world class and you come in and then you can play at that level. Then
well, you're right. I mean, I think what I would say is, like, they would clearly. We are not statos and physios and coaches, and they'll have all the information on him. Yeah. They'll know what he can and can't do. League Two is a different league to the Championship and certainly to the Premier League. So I don't know. I mean, look, if he's decent and if they think they can do it in the Premier League, then you've got to give him a go, haven't you? That's the thing.
What I think will happen is he'll go on loan to the Championship club, I think.
Yeah.
because
or Scotland,
I don't think the squad's big enough. And this thing of having to have a 25-man squad, there won't be a place for him in. And I don't know if he's an under 23 player, whether that makes any difference, but I suspect he'll go on loan to the Championship club.
Yeah, I agree. I trust Eddie Howe will, if he thinks he can get something out of him and need him, he'll have him in the squad. But if not, he'll send him out on loan. You want him to go to a decent Championship club. You want him to go to one that is going to, give him an opportunity to play at a really good level. And you want to see what he's made of. And if you can put it in at that level, then the season after you have him in your squad.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I just think the other thing is that if you put him into it, there's no point in putting him in Steve Bruce's Premier League squad because he would just crush him, it would damage him. Whereas next season, if it's going well, I agree with that. If it's going well,
that's what I'm saying.
You put him in a team with momentum, with a bit of, so it doesn't all hinge on him having to come on and score a winner. You bring him in for some cup games, that kind of stuff. Well, that's how you get experience, isn't it? That's where and maybe that's what happens. But anyway, Mitrovic has torn up the Championship this season, but I don't think he's going to score 40 goals in the Premier League next year.
No,
he won't. He might score a few more than he did last time.
He should do.
But apparently Fulham playing a different way now, so maybe he will.
Oh, I think Fulham look excellent actually, but
but they have in the past, haven't they? Then got relegated.
Totally agree with that.
As long as you can go to West Brom,
I don't think I
think he'll go to West Brom.
There's no chance he goes to West Brom. Zero chance that anyone at our club would let him go there. Because I think they genuinely know. Look at Callum Wilson came out again today with more underhand comments, which was like basically saying Bruce was crap because he was saying about how many more chances he's noticed he's getting a lot more chances now that he's back in the team. And it was all, I know he played a little bit under Eddie Howe, but it was very much, things are better now. Because the old guy wasn't so good. And there's been so much of that from lots of different players all season.
I'll tell you what, if you could guarantee Callum Wilson stay fit for a season, which you can't, and that's why we need another striker. He was superb last night. I mean, honestly, his movement, he caused their defence. And I'll tell you a story. I honestly thought, and we thought in the stadium, he'd scored. I had no idea it was an own goal until this morning.
Yeah, I didn't until about the fourth replay. It looked that close. It was only when there was one angle from behind the goal.
He went off celebrating, and he was in front of us. So we were.
And then at most of the celebrations, he was going, "Watch me tooth, watch me
tooth."
Sleeping now. I mean, if the defender doesn't get that, he gets that.
Yeah,
it goes.
Yes, exactly.
I think it's one of those, isn't it? The defender had to go for it.
But again, let's just give credit to the ball in because it was a hell of a ball in.
Man.
Yeah,
just absolutely super,
tremendous,
absolutely brilliant,
fantastic ball.
Andy, last question: which three players would you sell off first? I think there's a list of more than three that you could quite easily list very quickly. To be fair,
can I just say something about that? Because I think there'll be a lot of players will go, and I think Eddie Howe again has managed the situation amazingly well. Because as far as I'm aware, there's no leaks about anybody definitely going. He's made the squad united, literally, and being inclusive, and the players, and they will know. Because the other one that's not there, those three, is Matt Ritchie, and we were talking about him earlier. He was on the bench last night, and somebody said, "I wonder if he'll bring him on because it's probably going to be his last game."
I've got the squad list in front. Should I go through most of the squad and we'll just say if you was it snog, marry, avoid, something like that. What would be the equivalent? Sell, keep, or I don't know, retire. I don't know. So Dubravka, he stays.
Keep.
Darlow.
It looks like he's going.
Yeah, I would say.
I think we'll buy a new keeper this summer. We do need better competition for Dubravka.
We've got 4 goalkeepers, but no one's ever seen Mark Gillespie or Daniel Langley play. I don't think so.
Do they exist? I don't know.
Okay, so let's forget them. Kieran Clark.
He'll go.
Dummett.
He's got a
I think he signed a new contract. I'm
just reading names here, boys.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, that's what he's doing.
That's fine. Share.
Yeah, I'd almost forgotten that.
Yeah.
Say
that again.
Fabian Share.
Well, he's signed a new contract.
He's signed a contract. Yep. Lascelles.
He'll go.
Yeah, I think he'll go. I think because he's the club captain, it's awkward as well. So
I think he might. I mean, if Forest come up, actually, he could go.
Yeah, that's a good shout, that Dad. Yeah, going back to Forest.
Go back home.
Yeah, I think that's a really good shout.
Yeah,
I hope Forest come up. By the way, I really hope.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah,
about time. Yeah. Jamal Lewis.
That's a funny one, that isn't it? Because
I think he'll go.
I think he'll go.
Yeah.
It just hasn't worked for him for whatever reason. I think there's a good player there, but it just circumstance or whatever just hasn't worked for him.
He's still quite young as well, though, isn't he? So anyway,
so
I think he'll go.
We think Kraft will stay.
Yeah.
Well, he is.
I think he's played himself into staying.
Yes, he's been brilliant.
Unbelievably.
Fernandez.
Unfortunately, I think he'll go, but
I like Federico Fernandez.
I thought Fernandez was a good player. There's something not quite right about.
Something's a little bit amiss with that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even Howe's just not played him either.
No.
So
he might just be a massive arsehole. You just never know, do you?
I think.
Not that I know.
I think the thing is, we'll buy more.
Yeah.
Central defender. Yeah, I agree.
So it means that we have to get rid of them.
So Manquillo probably goes.
Goes, I think. Yeah.
Trippier stays. Target. We'd like him to stay. Dan Burn.
I think we'll sign Target. Yeah.
Burn stays, obviously. Shelvey.
I think he'll stay.
I think he'll stay. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
1 more year, 2 more years.
Another year.
Eddie Howe likes him, and to be fair to him, he's played really well. I mean,
I think what we'll look back on in a couple of years' time is like some of these players will be like the transitional players.
That's right.
Help us get to where we want to get to, and Shelby will be one of them.
You can't get rid of everybody in one go, can you? You've got to have still retain that togetherness whilst being a bit ruthless, which is what Keegan did, didn't he?
So there you go. Richie, he's going to go, isn't he?
Richie will go.
Yeah. Hayden.
Well, he's going to go. He's not even in the squad now, is he?
Exactly. Fraser stays.
I would say Fraser stays.
Yeah.
What about Jacob Murphy?
He'll go.
I think Murphy will go as well. Yeah.
I still think he's not quite. And actually, that break.
He should have scored. What a moron! He gets himself into the positions.
Yeah, he's end product terrible.
How many times we said that this season? He's hit the post more than any other player I've ever seen.
But he hit it right at the keeper.
He should have scored that last night.
Just hit the target.
Okay, well, he can go back to Norwich.
Do you know what was the worst? The worst thing about that, though, Ian, when they broke, his ball to Fraser was poor.
Rubbish. He copped it up twice.
Behind. Yeah. Fraser had to stop.
I've forgotten about that, and you've reminded me. I'm annoyed.
Okay. So are we just sacking him then?
I think he's
getting him down.
I think he's probably another championship level.
Nice guy, loves the club, but he's not going to be good.
You have to go and play for Sunderland now. Miggy.
Oh no, that's funny.
I think he'll go.
I think we'll cash in on him.
I think Miggy will go.
Because his end products, even after that goal the other week,
because you've got to remember we're going to buy players as well.
Exactly.
And I just think Howe hasn't played him that much.
Yeah, exactly. So Miggy probably goes.
He's played him quite a lot the last few weeks. So
he has, but we've had injuries and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think Howe rates him. Massively.
Let me just go through these. I think for me, Longstaff stays. Sean Longstaff.
Well, he's got a new contract as well, hasn't he?
Willock stays, obviously. And Gamerish is mid.
Sell him.
He's mid. Yeah. He's mid king of Newcastle.
He's just amazing, isn't he?
I don't know. We haven't Lucas de Bolly. Lucas de Bolly. Have we ever played him? Don't think so.
Who?
Lucas de Bolly. B-O-L-L-E. Number 50 in the squad. No? Okay.
I couldn't even tell you.
Let me just bring up his stats. Hang on. He's Scottish. He's 19.
He's a young lad.
He hasn't played any games.
Didn't he sign a contract? Didn't he sign his professional contract mid-season?
I think he stays.
I'm sure I remember reading about him.
Yeah.
Like he only signed his professional contract recently, I'm sure.
Yeah. So let's go for the forward. So it's De Bolly, D-E, and then B-O-L-L-E.
Yeah, February.
Yeah.
February 13th.
He's not going to be going.
He's only 19, bless him. He might go on loan somewhere.
Yeah,
he's like, I remember him signing. I knew it on long ago. Yeah.
There you go.
Belgian.
Okay. Let's go through the quote unquote the forwards, as it were. Joe Linton definitely stays.
100%.
Dwight Gale is going to go.
Will definitely go.
What about
Eventually.
ASM?
I think he'll
Yeah, I think he'll stay. But I know it's hard.
Yeah, I think on the balance he'll stay, but I hope he does. He played really well last night. He did things. He kept things simple.
You know what? I think Callum Wilson makes a big difference to ASM when he's in the side.
Yeah,
he kept things much simpler.
It was noticeable in the ground when I was watching. He was sticking out wide on the left a lot. He didn't actually come and get the ball in the central area. He was much more stretching the defence. It was interesting.
There you go. Yeah. And then you've got Wilson obviously stays.
Yeah.
And Chris Wood.
Well, he's going
to stay. Yeah.
Of course, he's going to stay.
Yeah.
It's just cost a fortune.
Yeah.
You need a backup. You need backup strikers. I think we will get a good striker, though. I think we will sign a top-class striker.
Yeah. So if Leeds go down, I'd like to sign Rafinha, and Mark would prefer Calvin Phillips. I think both very good players. Let's just talk about the relegation battle before we go. Obviously, we're not in it, thank God.
Yeah.
I don't think my nerves could cope with it. So that's the situation at the bottom. Who goes down out of Everton, Leeds, and Burnley?
Leeds. Oh no! If we beat Burnley, they're down.
Yeah.
Oh no, they've got another game.
Burnley
I think I would
play Palace, isn't it? I think it is.
Yeah.
No, Everton play Palace. Who did Burnley?
I think it'll depend on what happens
Villa.
in Burnley's next game, Ian.
Well, obviously.
I think. Yeah.
Well, no, because before the last game of the season, I mean. Because
they play Villa away.
I know exactly.
Thursday night.
If they win it, though, they'll be above Leeds, and if
they get a point,
Leeds will be the ones that go down.
That's speaking the obvious here.
Right. Yeah. They play Villa away on Thursday night. Yeah. Do you think that they'll get at least a point?
Burnley?
Yes.
Possibly.
Well, that's a rubbish answer. Do you think they'll get a point?
Amazing.
Yes.
Right. So in that case, they would be out of the bottom three, and they would have to play us. And then Leeds play Brentford away on the last day of the season.
I just say, Ian, you've just turned into Chris Sutton and Dad's just turned into Robbie Savage.
Oh.
Just patronising questions. Do you think they'll draw?
He didn't answer the question.
Amazing. Answer the question, you moron.
I actually think Burnley.
Who do I think will go down?
I think Burnley will go down because I think Villa will beat them, and I think we'll beat them, and I think it doesn't matter what Leeds do.
So you think Burnley will go down?
I'm
not convinced of that.
Well, that's fine. That's an opinion, and I'm glad you've got it.
What I would say is this: I don't think Everton will go down.
Everton won't go down.
No, Everton have done enough to stay up.
Yeah. I'm going to say Leeds are going to go down.
Yeah, I mean it's between Burnley and Leeds, but I actually think I just don't think Burnley will win again. I'll get a point.
Who are Leeds playing?
Leeds play Brentford away.
Yeah, I just think Brentford are looking all right. I mean, there could be. I mean, who knows? They could be on the beach, but I don't think they'll be allowed to be. So
no.
And they've got Ericsson's.
I want to go out on a high. I think there's a lot. There's a lot of that this time of year, isn't it? It's like
at the end of the day, I'm not bothered actually. I mean, I would like Everton to go down really, but if the three, but
they're not going to.
They're not going to. No, I think I would prefer Burnley to go down because they've been stinking up the league for years, and I like Leeds because it's another Northern.
I'd rather
team.
have Leeds in the Premier League.
Yeah, I would
personally.
Burnley team as well.
No, not Burnley. I know Burnley are a Northern team, but they've been stinking up the Premier League for a long time. But they have with I mean, obviously they've got rid of the manager that made them stink, but it was. I mean, let's just say he was Sam Allardyce with a personality. Sean Dyche, isn't he?
Oh dear! I'm just so grateful we're not in part of it. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Right. Just to leave on a note of positivity.
Yes.
So our friend from Sunderland, DJ Earth, predicted that we would survive.
He did.
And this is what he thinks will happen next season.
No.
So do you know what it is?
You heard it here first.
It's interesting because in the ground I was chatting around, with Alex and in the ground last night, and we're saying, people think we're miles behind and we are miles behind Liverpool and Man City. That
everyone is.
Tottenham are a good side, but really the rest, I think, we're capable of. Like Andy was saying, West Ham had a great season. They're only 10 points more than us now.
Yeah,
I just think it's not beyond the realms of fantasy.
That's
I
the thing.
genuinely think there's a chance of us finishing in the top 6 next season, and I don't think that's ridiculous to say that.
Well, let's remember 7 get European places because of the conference.
I think we could get European football next season. I really do believe
that. The question is, will Man United be as awful as they have been this season? Probably not, but they're still 6th.
They're not going to finish in the top 4, I don't think.
No, but I don't think they'll be as as
they'll be closer.
Yeah. West Ham, it depends if they keep Rice. He's so important for them, and and can they keep that kind of momentum going? Will they make some good signings? Who knows? I certainly don't worry about like Villa and Palace and and Leicester. Let's just see. I think we can finish above all those teams.
Be competitive, but they're the teams we should be competing with next season, and I think we can come out on top. I think because I think we've got a really good. I think we will recruit well, and Eddie Howe will coach well, and that will leave us in a good place.
Yeah,
that's how I agree.
I agree.
And let's be honest, if Chelsea don't get sorted, they'll be out of the league anyway.
Hasn't their deal?
No, yeah. Well, whatever.
It looks like it might fall through. Yeah. I hope. I can't wait till those lot start being not very good. It's amazing. Anyway, right. That's it. That's it for tonight. Thank you for joining us. I don't know when we'll be back next, but it won't be as long a wait as it was last time. Thank you for everyone who's joined us. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. It's been good.
The word. And like I say, I'll have videos soon up on my channel again, and we'll have some more of these live streams. It'd be fab. So we might even do one later in the week before the Burnley game. I don't know. So we'll see.
Okay.
All right.
Enjoy the rest of the week.
Oh yeah, by the way, it's your birthday tomorrow, Dad.
It is.
So happy birthday tomorrow.
Yeah. Officially an old age pensioner.
Is that right? Tomorrow.
66.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Which is quite scary, really, but never mind. I'm still going.
Well,
I just want us to win something in my lifetime. That's all I ask.
Yeah, there's a stat. You're 66 tomorrow, and you haven't seen us win a trophy.
Well, I did. I saw win the first cup, but I didn't. I wasn't.
But you didn't
really. I didn't go to any of the games.
Exactly,
I was only 13. But yes, so thank you anyway for reminding us.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Very good. There you go. Thank you very much. And
happy birthday, Mr. Smith. That's all right. I'm going to cook him a barbecue thing tomorrow. That's what we're going to do. So I'm going to take him to the seaside.
I wish I was 25.
Yeah.
Just still feel it.
Right.
All right, then.
See you later, everyone. Bye.
See you later. Bye.